point implies thresholds. First of all, it being introduced the term tipping element. Tipping element, there are about 9 or 10 tipping elements, and they have different degrees of urgency. Absolutely, the first tipping element that we must look at is the Arctic sea ice melting rate. And every tipping element has a tipping point. And I believe, and the scientists also believe, that the tipping point has already been passed in at least one of these tipping elements, and that is the Arctic sea ice. The Arctic sea ice, I don't think, can recover. And for the first time in history, in any given year, the year 2008 is the first year in which I've heard that the North Pole is ice-free. Now that is pretty terrible. The North Pole is ice-free. In 2007, it was devastating. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change came up with 5 scenarios. The worst case scenario depicts about maximum 6.4 degrees rise Celsius rise, or 10 degrees Fahrenheit rise, and that is already bad enough. I mean, that in itself is going to wipe out millions of species. But that is a gross underestimation, as the Arctic sea ice melt has demonstrated. Last year, 2007, when the 4th most up-to-date IPCC report came out, the very year that they predicted that there was a maximum of 6.4 Celsius rise by 2100, Mother Nature herself trounced all these predictions by presenting to us an unprecedented ice melt rate. And that really shocked scientists. That really shocked even politicians. Certainly shocked me. And in the very same year when those predictions were made, the rate of the Arctic ice melt exceeded the worst case scenario by a wide margin, to something to the tune of a factor of 3. That means it's 300 times worse than the worst case scenario. In the very year when the worst case scenario was presented to the public. So it begs the question, if in the very same year Mother Nature proved that the IPCC's worst case scenario to be grossly inadequate, if we give IPCC one more 100 years, to 90 years anyway, to the year 2100, how much more wrong could they get? How much more of an underestimation can it be? I say that it's going to be at least an underestimation of by twice, by 200%, meaning that if they predicted 6 degrees Celsius rise, I would say between 10 and 12 degrees is more likely Celsius. That means about between 16 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit rise. Just imagine a 20 degree Fahrenheit rise in your own state. Okay, just imagine that. Now, so the tipping point of Arctic sea ice melt, I believe, has already been passed. It cannot be brought back. You cannot regrow the sea ice in the Arctic. And also the Greenland land ice is melting, and the Arctic land ice is also melting, and entire chunks the size of small countries have broken off the western Antarctica. So that tipping point is passed, and when you talk about a tipping point having been passed, it's a very serious situation. It is a one-way street, a point of no return. So we've gone past one point of no return out of what, 9. I think that another point of no return is also here, which may also have been passed, and that is the tropical rainforest, particularly the Amazon. The global warming will dry out the Amazon, together with the direct assault against its environment by logging, by clear cutting for more soy plantations, sugarcane plantations for producing ethanol for North American SUVs, for feeding Brazilian cattle to feed North American meat-loving diets. The Amazon rainforest had suffered a huge drought predicted previously, in 2005, and it is continuing on being dry. And scientists predict that unless something drastic is changed in our behavior, the Amazon rainforest will at best become the Amazon savanna, and at worst the Amazon desert. And the Amazon contains 7 to 10 million species, or 1/3 to 1/2 of all the species on Earth. So if the Amazon becomes a desert, we will have driven 10 or 7 million species to extinction. So the Amazon, I believe, has already passed a tipping point, in my opinion, because even if we don't do anything more to it, the drying trend will continue, and the logging will continue, and the deforestation will continue, slash and burn will continue. So the Amazon, I believe, has also either approached the tipping point or have already passed it. And there are another 7 or 8 tipping points, and I'm not going to go into it one by one. Suffice to say that they will go one after another if we carry on the way that we have. And if all the tipping points have been passed, I would say that the Earth's tipping point itself, the Earth's own tipping point will have been passed, and there will be no recovery. It will just keep on going worse and worse and worse and worse until there's nothing left. Well, maybe some bacteria left, I don't know, but certainly no higher mammals, no whales, no dolphins in the oceans, no eagles in the air, no tigers in the jungle, because there will be probably no jungle left either. So, we are talking about points of no return, and I believe that 2 out of 9 have already been passed.